Good morning. Well, if this is the way it's going to go today, we may as well just leave. This thing just flatlining. Markets are closed for Christmas, I guess. We'll take a look and see if anything else is moving here. You see, it's just been little wiggles, came up flat and inside of yesterday's range. And things have gone pretty much the way it was anticipated earlier in the week. Some stocks moving, and markets pretty much not doing much. We'll take a look at the Russell that pushed up to new highs again. But, the way things are here this morning, not expecting too much. But it was interesting yesterday, a little sell off, right? Into the close. And then I guess the recovery later on. See what SPY's got that bad tick, but you can see it was higher. And just overall, while it gave back yesterday, that little sell off at the end of the day, I mean, just some funds getting out of some positions, things, recovered. And just look at the closes, just flat, flat. I don't really, not really sure this has any true implications. We come back after the holiday, but, the market's been going nowhere. And this is taking on a look of a little head and shoulders kind of situation. I'm sure you can see. So, even though today is going to be light, I'm interested to see if this does get even some minor downside there. Keep an eye on this pattern and that neckline. If we start the new year, if it breaks that, we got a top in place, and you can see markets as far as the S&P goes. It's just been going nowhere here. Just a little trading range there for about a month or so. And Qs, SPX, we look. Is today an expiration day, Jake? I guess it would be. Yeah, it's the end of the week, right? So new high, down, up, sideways stuff going on there. Same sell off there at the end of the day, which held our Fubo trade. That was like a Warren Buffett day trade. Jeez. Was it FOBU? FUBO. FUBO. The first time they ever traded that stock. Um, but yesterday, 10 o'clock. Where did I short that? I waited. I think it was around here. I shorted it somewhere around there, right? And just sat with it all day long. And then we got the nice plunge. We covered the last part of it as it went down in the afternoon. And I mentioned yesterday this was the tell. And after sitting with it, and it just missed the stop by a few pennies. And the stop, I think, was above 58. And that new high failure. How you doing, Almontes? That new high failure. That was the tell. Right? And as it started to inch down, and then it just waterfalled as the market fell. It was great after holding it all day. Sometimes you can hold these all day and you wind up closing them just to be out because it was intended to be a day trade. But down, kind of flattish, up, down a little bit, but certainly looks like a short-term top in place and could go lower. I'm out of it. It was a good for a nice profit after holding it most of the day. And make the winner. Got up there to a new high, hanging up there at 200. The futures, on the other hand, are up above 2,000. right? Not a lot, but a little bit up above 2000. You can see they're just marched up a little bit, starting to come in a little bit, but not much going on there. How transportation's doing. Happy holidays to all of you there on YouTube. Join us every morning. And it survived, breaking down below those lows. We've got a little turn here. That's kind of been talking about keeping an eye on this. This was that nasty crack that happened there in so far, right? Factory work. It's in the lower half of the wide range bar. As long as it keeps closing here, the implications are it's going to break below. Um, that's just what we do when we see a big bar like that. Even though we don't know if there's any support inside, we know it's a momentum move in a smaller time frame, and we just say, okay, 50%. That's usually what it does. The closes stay in the bottom half and sometimes in the bottom third. And so, unless this can get back above here, looking for this to start to roll over, and just taking a peek at our internals for the holiday, you see our wrong way option traders just coming back for more. And market's just doing nothing. That's a bad tick up there. It's just been flatlining. Um, but it's got a little down toward the bullish level, but it doesn't mean anything because the sentiment's up here. We need sentiment down here, and we need breadth down here for a buy signal. And we don't have that. So we just doesn't mean much. And then the fact that these option traders just keep going to buying the overwhelming amount of calls, and it just has a tendency to put a lid on things. And while they were doing it here, and we had this grinder, you know, you don't not getting that momentum move. And that was what we were kind of looking at. And I don't know, we come back after the holiday that, next week, whether that's possible with sentiment up here. But one of the things that we've talked about in past pre-markets were reviews were this kind of an acceleration pattern that when it occurs historically, that's the sign that, okay, our internals are saying, be careful. And then we get the price action that traders are just jumping on board. They can jumping all over themselves, taking the offer. I don't care. It's going to go to the moon, and I'll pay up for it. And there's no risk. That's all the mindset behind this kind of a pattern. When traders begin to pay up versus, hey, I'm not so sure. Let me buy a little. Let me buy the dip intraday. No, no risk. Pay up. Hey, it's gapping up. Buy more. It's going to go higher. And then the correction. I'm not getting that. Just keep getting this, but we're nowhere market lately. And as I explained yesterday, this type of a market that just goes nowhere for a while when an uptrend, right? The assumption is, okay, it can break out. But if it doesn't, all of that trading becomes supply. We just don't know whether that is going to be the case yet until it either breaks down or, if it breaks out, then it's got a new launching pad. But launching pads typically don't occur with the wrong way option traders ready to profit from that. So SPX today, I would say same as yesterday. Above here, below there. How can you tell when a print is bad? When it just looks totally ridiculous, as to it's just not normal. And then what you do is you go and you look at, 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart, and you see, is it just this look the same thing with a big tail, or are there multiple bars that went up there and came back down, where they were actual trading, and you can see volume that occurred there. And the majority of time when you see something like this and you look at the intraday charts, it looks just like that. It shoots up. And as far as the S&Ps go, just to make the point here, as soon as I see that intraday, you know, just go to block and look at SSO, which is the leverage ETF, and that's less actively traded. But you see that there's no big tail. Oh, just a bad tick. And if it was real, SPX, the dollar sign, this platform, you need SPX would have the big tail as well. So you can just go and look at other markets just to confirm. All right. So the Dow just continues to flatline. It's been doing it for a long time. So we wait. Expectation is probably more of the same with some intraday wiggles, and probably by 11, 12 o'clock, the market's open till 1, but probably by 11 o'clock or so, you won't even hear the mouse. Look at the Russell. Bonds are up here a little bit. They've just been going nowhere for the longest time, just over a month. Backed off a little bit. We talked about the wide range bar yesterday, signaling probably the end of a move. It's just trading inside there. Gold, it's kind of my hopeful for a go-to next year. Maybe the markets are waiting for this ridiculous stimulus package or not. Um, More of printed money. Kind of ridiculous. If you guys, I'm sure you've all heard of some of the stuff that they're trying to put in this thing. It's pretty wild. Thank goodness it got vetoed, and we'll see what happens with that. And silver, which has been the outperformer. Um, Looking at the weekly chart, this is beginning to shape up. I like that topping tail, tell you the truth, coming off and hitting this area of resistance, and a little more consolidation here into the new year, and that is going to be a go-to for that market as well. Uh, Usually bad prints, Almontes. A lot of times they're universal through most platforms, but yeah, I don't know about TC2000 versus eSignal. I think eSignal, I don't know where they get their data, but this doesn't connect to anything else. They have their own data feeds. Well, let's take a look at Bitcoin. We're just perusing here. Just hanging up there at 24,000 like a champ. What a giant move. And who knows where that'll go next year. Maybe it'll double. We'll see. We'll see if it pulls back, but that's kind of it. Things are really quiet here. Not much going on. It was pretty much expected, and not likely to see much happening here. Maybe a few stocks moving around here this morning, and then we see how things occur, shape up for next week. So about it. All these on YouTube. We will talk again next week. Happy holidays. And here in the green room, we'll see what things shape up for a few hours here. All yours, Dan. Miro, did you hear what Donald Trump said when he addressed? I don't know if you guys heard it, what he said. Um, nope. Well, this was a little jab and a little, there's more coming, folks. He said something about if they don't send him the bill so that this money going to people that need it rather than this measly $600 isn't addressed more like maybe a couple of $1,000 and all the pork taken out, the next administration would have to deal with it. And he said that next administration just is likely to be me. So something's coming. All yours, Dan.
All right, thanks. All right. Let's see. All our opens look fine. I'm just, yeah, glancing, they're all fine. Let's go right to gappers. This Fubo that Craig was talking about, we have a January call spread just because as of yesterday when we entered it, they didn't have any weeklies. They do have weeklies now. I looked and they're there. So um, I'd also like to, all right, sorry, I did the wrong screen share there. Also like to, uh, let's try to get us into a bear call credit spread for next week's expiration. Let's see, Baba was in the news yesterday. They said the Chinese government's gonna do an antitrust into its investigation, and that's gap's getting pretty darn big here now. 230, it was 240 when I looked at it earlier. But if Debbie were with us, she loves triangles in her sleep. This is a big descending triangle, horizontal support, lower highs. It's gapping under this horizontal support, but it's gapping here. That's a big old gap. But if this were to, let's just hypothetically say here 248, then this would be my target in here because this is a major topping pattern. And the weekly and monthly are also suggesting big targets, but the gap's too big. JD here, another Chinese one. There's no pattern there. Baidu's been on my list for selling a bear call credit spread. And it's still toppy. Now this thing ripped when they said they're going to make electric vehicles. That's the new buzzword these days. Fat 562, bearish gap. But I don't know what to do with it. McGraw asked me about Sina. So yeah, McGraw, it's a breakout daily, weekly, but we don't buy breakouts that run from the bottom of the range to the top of the range. So instead, you wait for a pullback or continuation pattern. But if you can get it under the week's low, then a put spread is fine. And since something got into this thing yesterday, now it's gapping up to $1. I mean, it looks look at that, 51 million shares yesterday. If you get a nice tight tradable pattern on the intraday, then I have no problem trading that. Actually, Pat and I were having a discussion yesterday on trading penny stocks yesterday, and I told her anything over $1, give me a pattern, I'll trade anything. And this actually is an exception. I'd trade this yesterday at 60 cents. You know, as long as there's a liquid pattern, I'll trade anything. PDD gapping down 136. All right, so that's what it looks like an ADR the way it's gapping, but this looks like a very nice 30-minute low trade. Yeah, I see our F tech moving up here. That's a core trade of ours in the battery space, or I think a beautiful daily, weekly, monthly. DDS. I don't know what brought me. I think this was a typo, and I said, "Wow, this looks nice." That was a nice gap breakout yesterday. DDS daily, weekly. Let's keep an eye on that. Both for a put spread and directional. Target here. I like the little breakdown failure. and bullish close. I like the buy setup in the weekly. That's a watch. Both for put spread and directional. Script, that's fully recovered now. Fully recovered that nasty gap down. There's no pattern, but it's bullish recovery. Wait, is that a stock? Nice. Oh, a recent IPO. I haven't heard of this one. But yeah, I like IPOs. There's nothing to do on the daily, but um, maybe 30-minute high. Frankie alert. Shared from YouTube. What's the Condi Technologies? Is that Kindy? Um, NVIDIA here, I like as a bear call credit spread under yesterday's low. But the stock is Candy Technologies, Kindy. Look at it in a second. I'll look at it right now. Kindy is Condi Tech. Yeah, I was right. I was right. Okay, so whoever posted that alert, Frankie alert, whoever the heck Frankie is, I think's bullshit. And why do you all think I just said that? Well, we don't have much time, so I'll just tell you. To me, that sounds like a bullshit pump and dumper statement. Look, all caps. Exactly, detective. That's how you became my chief detective. About to skyrocket with pictures of multiple rockets. That is totally written to induce behavior from non-educated day traders. It's doing nothing here, pre-market. To me, he wants to sell. He wants to sell into a little pop. But I'll put it here just for. All right, let's continue. SIF we looked at RMG. Um, you're just getting on board a moving train, but if you can get an intraday setup, there's bottom we looked at, and back, gapping up to resistance, nothing to do. Target I mentioned, WFC is on my list from yesterday. I decided not to enter into the close. I don't know what the market's going to do here today, but as we set into the close, IWM looked great over yesterday's high, but now it's gapping over it. It continues to be the one with the best relative strength. The others are in a coma. GNRC. We're in this already as a put spread, but I like it as a new trade over the highs as a 1, 2, 3. That looks great. Wide range igniting breakout, 2 inside bars. Yesterday's bar traded under the prior bar. Looks fantastic. It's only going to trigger if it's strong. This garbage. HIG was on our watch list yesterday, a little gap breakout. Pelletier, yeah, that's still a valid post. Well, you can see here pre-market it gapped up and it came back in to fill the gap. But if it takes out these highs, yeah, it's a go, sure. Solo's trying to make the turn EV, but we're in no rush. Set an alarm if it can take out the week's high. Pins was on our long breakout list yesterday, but it got whippy, very whippy, close with the topping too. Light is kind of a 1, 2, 3, although yesterday's bar is a tad bit higher. But that's all-time highs. That looks great. Yeah, I'm done with gappers. These are now just watches from yesterday. GWRE, that's a bullish consolidation, daily, weekly. YOLO, we bought yesterday. That's a marijuana ETF breakout. SIB-B, we're already long stock that. QDEL. McGraw, this one's on your list. It can take out the week's high, then a put spread, McGraw. Redfin, okay, it's gapping up a little bit now. I'm watching this for a call spread. Stick, another recent IPO, gapping up. I'm not chasing. WNW. All right, this is actually a beautiful, it's hard to see here because the data's scrunched here for an IPO on the left. But there you go, that's better. That's a beautiful IPO pattern. Oh, beautiful. I'm gonna put that in a window. WNW. So it blasted off, came back, fluid bars. It's a deep retracement, but yesterday was a beautiful reversal. So it's gapping down today, right now. I actually like that because then if it takes out yesterday's high, then that's exactly what the chart suggests. Let me post this right now. Now, I'll just give a heads up to our subscribers by Telegram. All right, Tilray, we entered yesterday, bought the stock and sold a put. XPEV is having a hard time making the turn. Oh, yeah, that doesn't look right. Yeah, there, that doesn't look right. XPEV was trying to make the turn and it's having a hard time doing it. So, no interest. Mike's asking about BABA. The gap's too big for me to want to short it in terms of a day trade, Mike. I have absolutely no idea. Meaning, I don't know if the bulls are going to step up and give me a wide range bar. I don't know what they're going to do. And that's the beautiful thing about technical analysis is the market don't care about what we think or want. It's the reflecting the sum total of all market participants. So I have it here in a chart on the bottom right. And let's wait 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes. But since it's gapping down, that means volatility is going to skyrocket on it, which also means it's a candidate 30-minute high. We could sell a 0 DTE put spread, and I'll bet they'll be juice. Zoom, we were watching to sell a put spread, but I needed to get through all of this 15-minute resistance first. FEYE. Climactic sell setup, little bearish gap down. Dean Condi. Does that look like it's rocketing today? See, I hate pump and dumpers with a passion. I mean, there's so many crooks on the street that have different tricks, if you will, of scamming innocent people. And I just think pump and dumpers are They're scammers. I hate them.